Vrilock's fire and ice. In me and of me, Asgar and Midgar. Welcome to planet Vrilock, lords and ladies. Thank you for joining me this evening. Let's see, what's some of the side topics tonight before we dive in to my fire and ice? That's right, I've got a new product. It's more than a product. It is a school. Changing the world. Get rid of shabby old government sectors like mandatory tax collection. Hell, maybe even throw out the DMV and the Social Security Department. As for community and civil services, these can be run, well, by community and regional campaigns by the people who care about such things like whether or not roads are maintained or if ex-convicts should be allowed to move into their area, etc., and so on. I mean, get that shit out of politics. We don't need politicians. It's sort of like everything in society is, we have interpreters for everything. Because you're not smart enough to read the good book, so you need an interpreter. They are called reverends, priest. Green changes. Talking green tech. Start employing better thinkers than the ones we currently got in the Senate and Congress. And hell, universities don't need to be involved. And for hell's sake, we don't need politicians reminding us that they didn't pass chemistry class or even know how to use a calculator. Instead, employ the talents of some of these prestigious fintech professionals to look at the high-level view of going green. I say this because one of the big drawbacks of living in California is that these Congress muggles are excitable men and women. I mean, they really are. They jump at the word global warming or climate change and change policies faster than Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz can click her heels together and recite, "There's no place like home." Yes, there's no place like home unless you live in California. And if you want to see the Emerald City, you've got to put on those green lens glasses. Well, you might not know about that because, well, they stole that out of the script. They erased it, when they produced the film The Wizard of Oz. Anyhow, there are solutions. There are indeed solutions, like my friend Oleg Feldgager makes clearly and concisely solid points. One being, we should reimagine the power grid. I think organized into separate blocks so that in the event of a power outage, we can shut down smaller areas of the population without closing down half the state. Right? The other suggestion Oleg had was to use oil sand. Yes, I know, there are some opinions to the contrary, and based on the notion that these could be hazardous to the environment. But my point here is that we need to look at the long term for going green rather than, just wing it, dude, kind of approach to problem solving. Yeah, leave just wing it to the snake oil salesman. I'm not the genius of civil engineering or even greenhouse gases, you know that. It's not my area of expertise. But I can listen to people, both common and professional, on global issues, and then I can tell the difference between apples and oranges, addition or subtraction, and, dope it out. Who is being straight with the general public? Right? Cryptocurrency, another dilemma for new traders. With all the noise and hype, it is a hassle just trying to determine where to buy in. News has it that Solana could hit $200 in a few weeks. Avalanche might even break 115 buckaroos. And Near Protocol that I'm watching could hit what I suspect to be $20 per token. I think it's recently at around $16 plus. I think that's nearly doubled in some months. Well, like I instruct in my video course Psionic Cryptomancer, it is important to choose one or two tokens that you'd like to hold on to for the long haul. That isn't financial advice, it's simply good reasoning. Otherwise, you're going to be pulling your hair out with management of so many altcoins. In my opinion, Bitcoin is an isolationist holding. You know, you're going to get real cabin fever sitting up there in Bitcoin Mountain. While, on the other hand, Ethereum was constructed to decentralize corporations and be a real game changer. And Ethereum still deserves to be the king of altcoins in my not so humble opinion. Hey, you know, I'm privy to Near Protocol as a competitor token to Ethereum, but moreover, I'm with Ethereum for the long haul, I think. Content. Alright, so let's get to the heart of the show tonight. Alrighty, so tonight's context is about what is real and what is possible. I'm not going to talk about what's not real, because you hear enough of that on the news and on SNS, right? Let's just talk about real. Let's be real. And why you need psionics to get the job done. Or rather, to get people out there to do their jobs. Already, some of you know my gripe with Crypto.com and their tax solutions. One would think that they'd have created an export feature for their DeFi wallet app. You're familiar with that. Some of my club members are talking to me about that day in and day out each week. So we could generate, you know, a CSV file, like an Excel spreadsheet for reporting taxes in parallel to the Crypto.com exchange. But they didn't think of it. Just like their customer service didn't think to transfer me to their IT department when I had an issue with the APIs, among other things. That's the application programming interface software that allows other software to communicate. And instead, they transferred me to their tax specialist, waiting and waiting, who didn't help me very much. Not at first. I mean, they did follow up with emails later. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. It's not that they don't mean well. It's just this gripe is about organizing, and we learn from mistakes. That's why I'm speaking about it. You know, there was an old saying from the singer of a band called Citizen Fish, Dick Lucas, and he said, "Don't suffer in silence, suffer out loud, otherwise nothing changes." So I spent hours wondering what the hell to do. And so I did, you know, something really odd, something forbidden. I did some actual research on my own. Oh, damn, I thought for myself. Thought police. He's thinking for himself. The answer was simply what I tell most of my own students when it comes to reports not displaying or information not being saved, trouble downloading a product or whatever it is. Clear the cache. No, I'm not talking about robbing the bank. Cache as in C-A-C-H-E. Thought you'd like that. And if all else fails, try another browser. I know we all have our gripes about Safari, you know, how it displays things. And, you know, it's not that bad. Internet Explorer is a real pain in the yank. I know Google's evil, but Google Chrome works the best and by far. There are some alternatives such as Firefox. Firefox is pretty good too. Thank you, Mozilla. That seems to help, right? And so what does this have to do with the price of tea in China, you ask? Everything. Actually, it does have to do with everything here. I'm making a very indirect point, though. We have entered into a new world which requires each of us to start thinking for ourselves. This means, on occasion, we might even need to learn something new. Didn't Art Bell always say that on his show? Those of you who are coast-to-coast addicts or coast-to-coast evangelists, what have you? Art Bell would always say in his commercials, in the breaks, try something new today. Well, you might have to do that. For me, that means understanding how taxes fit into the world of cryptocurrency. And yes, I realize that's nearly an oxymoron. But the old dinosaur bureaucrats don't care if their skill sets and usefulness ended with the extinction of the dinosaurs. They have nothing left to fall back on, except for perhaps a brutal legislative and judicial system, and of course using the sensationalism of both MSN and their cloisters of fear-mongers on SNS. Shame on you, bureaucrats. Can we not be done with them? Well, for most of you listening now, I bet it can be very, very difficult to distinguish between narratives and actual problems. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're anywhere less smart than these stuffy old, what are they drinking these days? Jack Daniels drinking bureaucrats. And isn't that like one of the requirements for a congressman? Is this? I think they sit there and they pound Jack Daniels. At least that was one of the stories going around. Now, the narratives are not written by them. It's by smarter people at big organizations like DARPA and the CIA. It's probably in some of the tech giants these days, right? Or maybe it's the universities. Right. Distinguishing between narratives and actual problems can be difficult, but you want to make yourself aware. And I can feel your desire to establish a base of stability and have clarity in your life. I know. Well, this all boils down into our personal sphere of reality. Before we can reach out there into the world circuit like our Dr. Vrilock does here. I'm pretty good at it, but I've been doing this for decades. I mean, yes, I'm taking on the old elite to lay down a path for you to join me. You know, hang out together on Mount Olympus or Asgard. You know, metaphorically, of course, but very real in the manner of speaking. So, for you, dear friend, I say unto you this. Welcome to hell. But now, if you'll come with me, we can leave here together. I'm going to walk you through this right now. Yeah, tonight. What you have is a mind locked into an energy system, trapped in the dark chrysalis of matter, and it's latched on to this physical body. And this relationship extends to the external world by a variety of channels. But fortunately, very, very fortunately for you, it is not necessary to understand the entire rocket science of this mortality and the road to immortality. Now, it's very real. I'm going to tell you about it. Instead, I'll point you to a little secret here. It's called the Orlog. No, it is not a brand of cereal. Yeah, eat your Orlog, Johnny. No, your Orlog is actually your lot in life. That's where all your gripes come from. All your agitations, the antagonisms, and the good things. It's good that there's good things that come from your Orlog too, otherwise it wouldn't be very useful now, would it? To better explain this, think of life as a series of swirling synchronicities, if you can imagine that, in whatever way you think. And these synchronicities are waiting to manifest down the path before you. But what you might not be aware of is that this is not the only path. I'm not talking about just making some decisions. At times it can be difficult to be more decisive. And indeed, indecisiveness is a clear sign of external, or perhaps in some cases internal influence, such as hitchers or possession. There are indeed many paths which project from you in myriad directions. Ordinarily, the average person is truly left to fate. And so the road to Nowhereville is a lonesome journey unto the unfathomable world of uncertainty. Sounds rather gloomy, doesn't it? Well, most of the time we're given a degree of mercy in the form of life's constructs being, or its synchronicities, being all dressed up or sugar-coated. You want a sugar daddy? Yeah, but it's still bad for you. It's bad for you not to know how to control your own destiny. That's a really, really bad thing. So, I've put together a course to help you take back this power and change your lot in life. Once this is accomplished, it opens the doors for you to pursue personal power, and then of course also go on to working your will in the world as a truly empowered psionic mind master. That's where you want to be. May I present to you Vrill, Fire and Ice. Now then, Vrill, Fire and Ice is my new video course covering the core and prime runes of the ancient Teutonic and Norse gods and goddesses. And this course is put together in a way that is pleasant for a psionicist or a psychic power student to pursue easily. You won't need any tools or gadgets unless you want to make some. Just the instrument between your ears. I'm talking about your brain. And an hour to watch and listen to my lecture. And that's it. 1 hour of your time for empowerment for the rest of your life. In my Vrill course, I present to you the true story of the beginning of the cosmos and your part to play in the universe without all the sensational narrative that you've become accustomed to by other spiritual and religious houses. I will give to you the tools and mental constructs that you need. And it is so much easier than all of my psionics courses, for which I have some more in-depth, complicated courses and books like Psionic Robot and so on. Because the powers you're going to draw upon in this course, Vril, Fire and Ice, these powers are templatized, and many of these templates have been tried by other magicians and runesters, people who work with the runes. While I've reserved a few of my personal and secret rune combinations just for you. Okay? So this is waiting for you. Are you ready to make that change in your life now? This is that course. This course is all about you. In closing tonight's podcast, I wish to leave you with a choice. You know, that's a rare thing indeed. My club members like Honest John. I always like to say Honest John because he's just such a fun name. He always says that this is the one thing which distinguishes me from a lot of our other magic instructors out there. That is that Dr. Vrilock guides you. Yes, I will help you. But I will leave you with the decision to make about what kind of person you're going to be. And if you're going to take the next step. If you want it, then download or stream this video course, Vril, Fire and Ice, and get started. Transition out of speculation and uncertainty. Instead, embrace the true magic system that actually works. The system of the psionic Acer gods. Vril, Fire and Ice. Vrilock.com/shop. Download or stream tonight. Until next time we have this merry little gathering in the hallowed hours after dark, I want to remind you all to keep the magic high. This is Dr. Von Vrilock, signing out.